Okay guys, I'm going to go through a couple of examples to show you all of the different ways that this can happen. So looking at example 1, we have a plus 7 with 8 on the bottom. So that's a plus 7 divided by 8 equals 5. So I don't have any, I'm going to go through the checklist. I don't have any distribution to happen. I don't have parentheses. I don't have any like terms to combine right now. I have nothing to easily add or subtract with each other. I need to undo addition and subtraction, and I need to undo multiplication and division. Now, I typically would do addition and subtraction first, but that positive 7 is stuck because of the 8 on the bottom. I can't move the 7 until I move the 8, so we're going to actually undo the division first. And so here, in order to undo the division, we do the opposite, which is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. When we do that, on the left-hand side, the 8 on the top and the 8 on the bottom are going to cancel out, and we're just left with a plus 7. And then on the right-hand side, 5 times 8 gives us 40. Now I can undo the addition of that plus 7 by doing the opposite, which is subtraction. So I'm going to I'm going to write minus 7 on both sides. The left-hand side, the 7 and minus 7 are going to cancel each other out. And so we are left with a equals 40 minus 7 gives us 33. And that gives us our final answer for that first example. Looking at example 2, that one's a little different, and you're like, hey, these are the same numbers. What are you talking about? There's a slight difference. Our 7 here is not being divided by the 8, so it's separated. So we can actually move that 7 first. So in order to do that, we are going to subtract 7, and that 7 and negative 7 will cancel out. On the left-hand side, we will have a over 8 equals 5 minus 7. 5 minus 7 is a negative 2. Don't forget to use your calculator if necessary. If some of these computations give you kind of some struggle, that's okay to use the calculator. Then we need to get rid of the 8 underneath the a. We're trying to get the variable, the letter by itself. So we are going to undo the division that's happening with the 8 by doing multiplication like we did on the last problem. We're going to multiply both sides by 8. On the left-hand side, those 8s are going to cancel out, and we're left with a. And then on the right-hand side, negative 2 times 8 gives us a negative 16. And so for very similar looking examples, 1 and 2, they have very different answers. So we have to look for those subtle differences. We can't do the same steps just because we're like, oh, the same numbers are there. They're not quite in the same places. So make sure our goal is to move everything away from the variables, to get the numbers away from the A or the X, whatever letter we're using. And so we start with the easiest thing to remove first. On example 1, moving the 8 was easier. On example 2, moving the 7 first was easier. Let's look at example 3. Example 3 gives us 2 over 3 times h equals 12. So the first thing, there's more than one way you can do this. I'm going to show you both. There's 2 different directions we can go with this. It just depends on how comfortable you are with your math skills. So the first way that you can do it, I'm going to rewrite this, 2 over 3 x equals 12, is take care of that 2 over 3 in 2 separate pieces. The first piece we are going to get rid of is the 3 in the bottom. And right now that 3 is being divided by, or is dividing the 2. And so we are going to do the opposite, which is multiply by 3 on both sides. Multiplying by 3, the 3's on the left-hand side cancel out. and we are left with 2h. And then on the right-hand side, 12 times 3 is 36. And then our final step would be to divide by 2, divide by 2. On the left-hand side, the 2's cancel out. H is now by itself, which is our goal. That's what we want to have happen. And then 36 divided by 2, again, don't be afraid to use your calculator, is 18. Okay, so that is one way to do this problem. Depending on, again, your math skills, how you see the problem, what previous knowledge you're bringing into the classroom, you can also work this a slightly different way. So again, I'm going to rewrite the original problem. Some may have remembered or learned previously that to get rid of that fraction of 2 over 3, we can multiply by the reciprocal. But what the reciprocal means is the flipped version of the number. And so I would be multiplying by 3 over 2. So I would multiply by 3 over 2 on both sides. When we do that, on the left-hand side, the 3's cancel each other out, the 2's cancel each other out, and we already have h by itself. Then we have to multiply 12 times 3 over 2. Again, you can do that in your calculator, or you can do it in two pieces. 12 times 3 is 36. 36 divided by 2, we have learned, is 18. So both of these work. Neither is preferred by me. Completely up to you about which one you are more comfortable with. Okay, looking at example 4, this one has a few steps in it. So I'm going to make sure we go over this very carefully. We have -7 plus 1/2 h equals 13. We want h to be by itself. The easiest things to move are the numbers or other variables that are not attached to the h first. So I want to get rid of that -7 first. That's going to be the easiest thing to move away from it. Right now it's a -7. The opposite of a -7, in order to cancel it out, is going to be a +7. So we are going to add 7 on both sides of the equation. When we are doing this cancellation of adding or subtracting, we do not do it to every piece of the equation. We just do it to every side. So I only do it once on the right-hand side of the equal sign and once on the left and once on the right. And so we don't do +7 under that h. That is not something that we do. We don't need to do that. So when we go through and cancel things out, -7 and a +7 cancels out. And we have 1/2 h equals, oops, plus sign disappeared, 13 plus 7. 13 plus 7 gives us 20. And then we need to get the 1/2 away from the h. And again, like the previous problem, you can do this in two ways. You can do that 1/2 times h equals 20. And we can get the 2 out from underneath the bottom by multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. So the 2's cancel out, and we are left with 1 times h equals 20 times 2 is 40. And then if we want to get that 1 away from the h, the 1 doesn't change the h, so you might realize 1 doesn't change anything and cancel it out. But if you need to divide by 1, you can divide by 1. It does not change anything. And we have h equals 40. If we look on the right-hand side, again, we have that 1/2 times h equals 20. And we can multiply by the reciprocal like we did on the previous problem. So I can multiply by 2 over 1 on both sides. On the left-hand side, the 2 over 1 cancels out, and we're left with h. And then on the right-hand side, 20 times 2 on top. 20 times 2 is 40, divided by 1 doesn't change it, and it's just 40. So both of those work, again, just depending on how you see it. Both perfectly acceptable steps to use.